My name is Matthew Wilder. I am the program coordinator for the Society of Professional Journalists. I wanted to know about, apparently there's word been going around that some of the older reporters who have been working in the field for, say, 25 to 35 years are either accepting buyouts for retirement or perhaps even being laid off. I wanted to know if that's actually happening and on what scale is it happening and what's that going to do for your applicants who are just coming out of college and looking for their first job.
I can't speak for the industry. What I can tell you is the experience at the Plain Dealer. We have had 2 rounds of buyouts. Buyouts necessarily make more sense when you've been there a longer time, and sometimes people who have been there only a short time cannot even participate. So that is the only way in which people who are older are selected in this way. But when it comes to layoffs, I mean, we don't discriminate on the basis of age. Age has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Universities do the same thing with buyouts. You should have seen in the last 3 years disappearance of a whole bunch of faculty closer to my age than to yours. And they took the buyouts, and the university then has the money to hire in an assistant professor at a much reduced salary. To a certain extent, when you get rid of the old-timers who have experience, you can hire in at lower wages. Ford's doing it on the assembly line, GM, Toyota, any of those folks. It's a way of outsourcing, essentially. Either hire part-timers or stringers, or hire people who are cheaper. So remember, at every time that there seem to be no jobs, someone's also hiring. And when seniors leave those positions, that doesn't mean the job necessarily disappears. It may mean that there's an opportunity for someone who's younger and cheaper.
Speaking of opportunities, some newspapers also had a round of buyouts in August. And like Susan said, it just makes more sense for people who have been around for a long time to take the buyout financially for them. However, we had the experience of more people taking the buyout than what we expected. So for all you journalists who are about ready to graduate, we have 2 openings coming up this year. So if you are interested, get in touch with me.
Now you're probably not going to be one people like out the doors in the parking lot.
Running to the computer lab, printing off everyone's resume. I actually remember when I had an internship at Channel 19, my intern coordinator just recently got bought out as well, so that's kind of sad. You want to answer your question?
Yeah. I know the panelists talked a little bit about the consolidation of some of the bigger papers, and then we also talked about the grassroots, the smaller ones that are kind of popping up everywhere. Do you think both are going to exist simultaneously, or do you think one's going to win out? And if, like, say, any of us are offered jobs at either, which one do you think we should go for, the smaller or the bigger consolidated papers?
I'm not sure how many jobs there are in community journalism because a lot of that is a volunteer effort. And so that's one thing to think about. On the other hand, there's also might also be the excitement of walking in, walking into a brand new publication. And if they do have the money to pay someone, you might have the advantage of helping out a lot of people learn basic journalism skills, because community journalism means people are going to be coming in wanting to write but not knowing a lot about it. It's really going to depend on, like any other job, on pay and your sense of how likely the place is to be around in a few years and what they tell you your job descriptions are and that sort of thing. Another question? Oh, yes.
Yeah, actually, I have certainly followed this very carefully, being a community journalist. And I think in the industry, the general thought is that community newspapers, the independent community newspapers, the little weeklies, out in various parts of this country, are actually doing fairly well. And also, right in our own communities, there's a publication that is expanding its territories. It started out as a trading post in Medina and has gone into Brunswick and now is in Strongsville, North Royalton. So I think there are opportunities in community journalism. You will work long hours and not get paid a whole lot to do that, but you know, again, if this is what you want to do, that's a possible area for hiring.
I mean, in preparation to come here, I took a look at the latest annual survey of journalism and mass communication graduates conducted by Lee Becker out of Georgia. And it is the worst in 23 years. That's not surprise to you. But 6 in 10 graduates had full-time employment 6 to 8 months after graduation. 72% had at least one job offer. So even at the worst of times, that's not too bad there. So take some heart here, at least, rather than expecting it to be as bad as perhaps you expected.
What advice might you have for a graduating senior who is ambivalent about getting maybe an advanced degree versus chasing work experience?
Depends on what advanced degree are you thinking of?
I'm not even at that point yet.
Would you get the advanced degree because you were worried you couldn't find employment?
In lieu of, yeah, some kind of experience.
Well, I really think you've got to do what feels right to you. There's never going to be a downside, really, to getting more education, to figuring out some area to specialize in. Say you got an advanced degree in business, and then you combine that with your journalism degree or your journalism skills, and you were able to walk in and say, you know, you're able to be a financial journalist from the day you get there. You understand how to read, a proxy, and you understand how to cover important business news. You know, there is a real advantage to that. On the other hand, if you're able to find a good job and get on board, you ultimately could end up specializing in some area that interested you just by doing it. So I think it really depends on your stomach for going to school longer, your ability to go to school longer, and the current job market.
I just had a couple of things. I did take a look at the same survey that Richard just mentioned, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So you can see the names, but I can't. Oh man. I did take a look at the same survey, and the master's students did a little bit better at getting jobs. Not that much better, but then they were making more money in their entry-level jobs. So that's an argument for going. And then beyond that, I think I would, just building off of what Susan said, I think it would depend on your passion for the thing you're going to go study.
Can I say one more thing about this? It just occurred to me. You know, what I've seen a lot of people do pretty successfully is go out into the workplace for a couple of years. See what it is that you really might want to be doing with your precious time in graduate school, and then go back. Because, you know, what you don't want to do is go to graduate school and just sort of be spinning your wheels or wasting your time because you don't know what to do and you're just trying to buy time until the job market gets better. Because I think it's going to be a tough job market for a long time. But by going into the workplace, you might really, by doing it, be able to say, oh, I love this area and I'd like to know more, and I could become an arts reporter, you know, if I got some art history training under my belt, or I could be a financial reporter. But I think there might be some power to actually trying it first.
The one thing I wanted to add to that element is, from a communications and public relations perspective, in my 2 decades, I've never talked to anyone that has not received a position because they didn't have that higher degree. So I'm not trying to say don't continue to pursue your education, because you should if you can. It gets back to the point of just follow your passion, and whatever your end goal is, take the steps to get there, and be prepared to give yourself time in order to get to that place as well. Don't take a job just for money. And I think if you follow money, I think you'll come out at the end disappointed. That's my own individual belief. I've never taken a job based on money. It's been about the passion. What is it that you want to do with your life? You're going to walk across that stage one day, get that diploma, and you're going to work for the next 50 years of your life. So, what do you want to do?
That sounds silly.